In today's adventure, we went to Chicago.
We're going to Millennium Park to see the bean.
Made it to Millennium Park and we found the cloud.
What the heck is this thing?
It's called the Cloud Gate and is nicknamed the Bean because of its shape. It's made up of 168 stainless steel plates welded together.
Well, that's pretty impressive.
Yes, and also the sculpture surface reflects and distorts the city's skyline.
Yeah, this is a popular tourist attraction. Definitely worth visiting.
This is the skating ribbon. So, are you skating? Wow, you're moving so fast.
Yeah, but you're supposed to go fast.
Okay, skate faster. What did we encounter here?
A lot of metal structures, stuff like this. Beautiful pieces of architecture.
What would you call this beautiful piece of artwork?
Gems stuck in a rock. Difficult to steal. What would you call it?
Trash in concrete.
There's rocks.
Rocks.
They're gems, not garbage.
We decided to take a 1.5-hour architectural cruise.
We're starting the tour off with this kind of wide-angle lens on the city, which I've always really enjoyed, because it gives us an opportunity to kind of zoom out just a bit, to go back and get some context for the city before we get into the architecture, because we're going to talk mostly about context, right? Because a lot of art is meaning. So let's go back to the beginnings here, back to the 1670s, a relative beginning, a great decade. That was when we had our first non-native visit. Somebody at one point woke up in New York City and decided to say, hey, let's label ourselves the Big Apple. And that would make us here in the Midwest the stinky onion, exactly. We're very proud to be so. And now you have that in your back pocket for your next dinner party too, so it's nice. Making our way now onto the main branch of the river, we'll begin by going to the left with a new skyline changing design. Undulating blue-green glass on our new third tallest building. The height rulings here are unofficial. We'll get them later on, probably sometime in 2022, but for the purpose of the tour, this is our new third tallest building. The hotel is going to open sometime in the next 2 months. People have been living in the lower units since 2020, so this is our new third tallest, the St. Regis Chicago. Unofficially 1,191 feet tall, it's 101 stories, and our new third tallest, designed by Jeannie Gang, G-A-N-G. She's Chicago-based. Actually, she was already one of the youngest ever to win the MacArthur Genius Grant for architecture, regardless of gender. Pretty big game right now. Maybe it's worth knowing. I don't want you to. Birds are less likely to fly into the glass due to shading on a warm summer sunny day. It's easy to keep cool because it reduces solar gain in the structure. It's a Spanish revivalism. So taking an older idea and putting a new spin on it. So Charles Biersman, the architect here, he modeled this ancient and Roman Greek architecture, more popular all across the country at this time. But what I like here at Michigan Avenue is just a few hundred feet, just a couple of years, but we see two different styles emerging from the same trend, looking into the past. So, what is modernism? Modernism is a glass and steel black box. That is it, we're done. Please don't overthink modernism if you can. Mies van der Rohe is the guy who coined the phrase, less is more. Yeah, he didn't change our buildings, he changed the way we speak in 2021. His whole idea coming out of an era of decoration was, I don't want a lot of decoration done poorly. I want subtlety to near perfection. The lines of the buildings match the cracks in the plaza. The closer you look, the more everything is in its place. He was also a professor. One of his students disagreed with him, I think, because one of his students designed these Cob Towers right next door. Bertrand Goldberg behind Marina City, our iconic corn cobs. I feel pretty comfortable seeing the difference, right, between teacher and pupil, especially you who's where you can find your favorite bridge with over 40 to choose from.
boat parking.
He was wildly successful at this. We'll actually
And a parking
see,
garage.
more from him a little bit later on in the tour. As I mentioned, Marina City, it's one of our most photographed pieces in the city. It's a lot of people's favorite. This is not the size of most sailboats, obviously. Kind of a special treat as well. Hello. Very nice. And some really lovely photo opportunities coming up here. Beautifully preserved, over 100 years old. A lot of people are able to pick up the design elements, I find. Frank Lloyd Wright made Prairie School design incredibly famous, surprisingly famous with his homes. 0.2 million square feet to our right. The Pentagon eventually passed it in terms of total square footage, but now it's an office building that's well maintained today. I do get a lot of questions about the green heads. They're called the Merchant Princes, that installation. You got Marshall Field, Montgomery Ward, Wanamaker, Sears. They're called the Merchant Princes, but I haven't heard that in like at least a decade. A while back, David Letterman called them the Pez Dispensers of Chicago. Now we're making our way out onto Wolf Point, a beautiful kind of entrance here, with the bridge uplifted, the confluence of the river. So the main branch, the north branch, and the south branch. A lot could change in just a few years, which I think might be the same theme of this to our left. Printer's Row gets its nickname for the large mail-order catalog printers in the early 1900s. Today we see a lot of tall residential stuff. In fact, just 4 years ago, this was a vacant lot that you couldn't see beyond. There was a 15-foot seawall and a line of trees. Now you have a... Not everybody likes the whole curved concrete aesthetic, but boy, has that city within a city become kind of the standard today. Just a few blocks here to our west is where the Great Chicago Fire started. And in 1909, when Daniel Burnham publishes his plan of Chicago's home building, and nobody had ever put pen to paper. Now, here to the right, the story goes that this building, it didn't have a mural, and about 10 years ago, the owner took a dozen of these tours as they were becoming popular, and none of us were talking about this. It's a pretty well-known observatory, that sky deck. It's pretty clear today. There's also one of the John Gregg that Michigan Avenue. This one is a little bit taller, that one get better lake views, but pretty comparable. And if you'd indulge me, we have one last opportunity to see this building. A corner office, and right, so this building is a response to that culture. It says you want corner offices, here's 16 on every floor, when every other building only has 4. So by leasing office space here, well, that is just timed well. Alright, that's great. Yeah, you get to keep the best employees at your company. Mies van der Rohe said form follows function. Practicality usually fueling design. You had to step back to 1/4 of your foundation area to better allow sunlight down to other buildings and city streets. It's very important, sunlight in its time, because they knew every person understood the importance of sun. And now, of course, our relationship 100 years later has changed with light. But another way buildings get their shape, city ordinances helping adapt to those variables over time. Famous for a bunch of stuff, a car elevator when it opened, a speakeasy in the top dome just after Prohibition, and if that's not floating your boat, Decepticons. Transformers. Robots in disguise if you're not familiar.
We are here, Belmont, and we gotta go 1, 2, 3, 4 stops. Pick up our car and go home.
Can you explain to me how the metro system works in Chicago?
You just have to go to the station, and when you get inside, the train conductor asks you for a ticket. So usually it's like $6.75 one way, but it's cheaper if you just take that whole day pass, which is $10, and it takes you all around the trains.
You may park at the Kiss and Ride to pick up or drop off passengers.
Hello.
I made it alive!
Nice. How is the train?
Long! Oh my goodness.
How long is it from Chicago to Buffalo Grove?
It's like almost an hour.
Man, that's a long train ride.
Yeah, like the one stop to Wheeling, it probably was like 20 minutes long. There was no stop in between.
Why is it 20 minutes long at Wheeling?
No, like
from Wheeling to the next stop farther south is like at least 20 minutes.
Oh.
There's no stopping.
Gosh.
But yeah, I have fun. I made it alive.
Quite an adventure, I would say.
Well, that concludes our video. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.